June 15th, resistance to change. Many of us cling to our fears, doubts, self-loathing, or hatred because there is a certain distorted security in familiar pain. It seems safer to embrace what we know than to let go of it for the unknown. Basic text, page 34. We have often heard it said that when the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of changing, we will change. Our fear can keep us from growing, afraid to end relationships, change careers, attend new meetings, begin new friendships, or attempt anything out of the ordinary. We stay in situations that are no longer working far longer than we have to, simply because what is familiar feels safer than the unknown. Any change involves overcoming fear. What if I'm alone forever? We might think if we consider leaving our lover. What if I find out I'm incompetent? We may wonder when we contemplate changing careers. We may balk at attending new meetings because we will have to reach out. Our minds manufacture 100 excuses for remaining right where we are, afraid to try something new. We find that most of our pain comes not from change, but from resistance to change. In NA, we learn that change is how we move forward in our lives. New friends, new relationships, new interests, and challenges will replace the old. With these new things in our lives, we find new joys and loves. Just for today, I will release the old, embrace the new, and grow. I'm Herb the Addictaholic, and this is Just for Today. And we're constantly changing. The world's constantly changing. You know, when you're a kid, or when I was a kid, you know, I would look at some of the adults or older people and be like, how do you not get this music? How do you not understand this TV show? How are you not with the new trends of clothing and fashion? And, you know, you're stuck in your ways. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And there's this like crystallization that happens as we grow older where we kind of get stuck. And, you know, that's just like in an overall general perspective. You know, if you break it down into individual categories like music or fashion or whatever, you know, modern entertainment, the list goes on. It's kind of funny to look at the differences. And if we look at ourselves, I look at myself and I see now where I have kind of got stuck in some areas where I don't understand some of my kids' music or the cartoons they watch or whatever. And then I reflect and I say, oh, wow, you know, my parents used to make fun of my music, or they used to make fun of the cartoons I watched. And then I would watch their cartoons and I'd be like, oh, this is old. You know, why? I don't want to watch this. You know, who's Hanna-Barbera? You know, like Yogi Bear, really? I'm like, I'm already on G.I. Joe or something or whatever, you know, whatever the case may be. So I've learned to, you know, even before this program, I learned to, you know, sit and watch some of the cartoons with my kids. And I'll be amazed at some of the stuff that they watch these days and how much I like it. And then I'll go back and I'll watch some of my parents' cartoons, you know, and to see the difference from a studying perspective, being open-minded and willing to do that, you know, I can learn to appreciate different aspects for different reasons. And then it gives me a broader perspective, and then I'm not so cut off. And I do that with music. You know, I love music of all kinds. You know, I've been to different parts of the world, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes not so much, like in the military. But even in the military, being in the Middle East, I found a bunch of music out there that normally I would have balked at. I would have been like, ugh, why are you listening to that stuff? Now I listen to a lot of it like willingly, and I look for it, and there's some really great music from that part of the world, from that region. And so opening my mind to that, I'm like, well, what other great music is out there that I can discover? You know, and so it opens up like this whole new world, sometimes overwhelming. Sometimes when we think about all the opportunities and the new things that we can do, you know, it becomes overwhelming, and it's kind of like, you know, where do I start? And, you know, where do I go? But the trick is, one day at a time, we can do a little bit. I can listen to one new song a day, and then that's 365 songs every year new that I listen to. And if I can gather like a dozen out of that I continuously listen to like throughout my life, that I love, that make me feel good, then I've won, then I've succeeded, and I've leveled up, and you know, I've beat my resistance to change. Thank you guys for coming out. Hope to see you tomorrow. Keep coming back. It works if you work it.